Chapter 1. The Grim Reunion. The rain beat incessantly against the window of Sam Collins' small office, creating a hypnotic rhythm that filled the room with a constant sound. The light from the desk lamp, the only source of illumination, cast long and distorted shadows on the walls, reflecting the detective's state of mind. He was seated at his desk, surrounded by piles of documents and empty whiskey bottles, when he heard the door creak softly. A female silhouette, wrapped in a wool coat, appeared in the doorway, bringing with her the scent of rain and mystery. "It's open," Sam said without lifting his eyes from the papers. The woman entered, closing the door behind her. Her presence seemed to absorb the light, making the room even darker. She removed her hat, revealing black hair that cascaded over her shoulders. Her eyes, a deep green, scanned every corner of the office before settling on the detective. "Mr. Collins?" Her voice was soft but carried an urgency that made Sam finally look up. "Yes, that's me. How can I help you?" he replied, indicating the chair in front of him. She sat down with the elegance of someone accustomed to being in control, but Sam noticed a slight tremor in her hands. Something deeply disturbed her. "My name is Evelyn Harper. I need your help to solve a crime. A crime that happened a long time ago but still haunts me." Sam lit a cigarette, offering one to Evelyn, who declined with a shake of her head. "Go on, Ms. Harper. I have all the time in the world," he said, releasing the smoke in a spiral that rose to the ceiling. Evelyn began to tell her story. Her father, Jonathan Harper, a successful businessman and an influential figure in the city, had been brutally murdered 25 years ago. The police classified the case as a robbery gone wrong, but Evelyn always believed there was more behind her father's death. She had recently found a box of old documents that belonged to Jonathan and believed it might hold the key to uncovering the truth. "I want you to reopen the case, Mr. Collins. I'm sure my father was killed by someone close to him, someone he trusted. I found diaries, photos, and some letters that might help you," she said, her voice trembling slightly. Sam observed Evelyn for a moment. There was something about her that intrigued him. Perhaps it was the combination of strength and vulnerability, or maybe it was the mystery surrounding her story. "Let me see those documents," he requested. Evelyn took an old wooden box from her bag and placed it on the desk. Inside were leather-bound diaries, yellowed photos, and carefully folded letters. Sam leafed through the items, his eyes analyzing every detail with precision. "This is very interesting, Ms. Harper. I'll take the case. But I must warn you, the path to the truth can be dangerous and filled with secrets that might be better left buried." Evelyn looked directly into Sam's eyes, her determination clear. "I don't care about the danger, Mr. Collins. I want justice for my father, no matter the cost." Sam extinguished the cigarette and stood up, extending his hand to Evelyn. "Then let's begin. I will find out what really happened to your father. I promise I won't rest until the truth is revealed." Evelyn shook Sam's hand, sealing the agreement. As she left the office, she left a sense of urgency and mystery in the air. Sam knew he was about to dive into one of the most complex and dangerous cases of his career. The rain continued to fall outside, and the city, with all its dark secrets, patiently waited to reveal its truths. Chapter 2. Revisiting the Past. The clock struck midnight as Sam Collins began to delve into the documents left by Evelyn Harper. The rain continued to beat against his office windows, a constant symphony that seemed to synchronize with the cadence of his thoughts. There was something about the case that left him unsettled, a sense that he was about to unearth secrets many would prefer to keep buried. Jonathan Harper, Evelyn's father, was a man of power and influence, known both for his successful businesses and his public generosity. But Sam knew that behind every great fortune, there were usually dark secrets. He started reading Jonathan's diary, each page revealing details of a man who navigated both the business world and the city's underworld with equal skill. The early pages were mundane, recounting meetings, business deals, and social events. But as he progressed, Sam found notes that raised suspicions. Mentions of late-night meetings, side deals, and vague references to favors done to maintain the status quo. Jonathan was involved in something big and probably illegal, Among the papers, Sam found a black and white photograph of a group of smiling men in front of a luxurious building. He immediately recognized the Marlin Club, an exclusive haven for the city's rich and powerful. In the background of the photo, a man with hard features and a penetrating gaze caught Sam's attention. He was Henry Blake, one of the most influential businessmen of the time and a close friend of Jonathan's. "So, Henry, you're in the middle of all this?" Sam murmured to himself, clipping the photo to the diary. The next morning, Sam decided it was time to talk to some of Jonathan's old friends and associates. He started with Peter Reynolds, a lawyer who had worked with Jonathan for years. The visit to Reynolds' office was a smokescreen, where the lawyer's evasive answers only heightened Sam's suspicions. Jonathan was an honorable man, Collins. He never got involved in anything that wasn't absolutely legal, Reynolds insisted, his eyes avoiding direct contact with Sam's. Sam knew when someone was lying. He decided he needed more information and fewer evasions. His next stop was the home of Charles Miller, an old partner of Jonathan's. Miller, now retired, lived in a secluded mansion surrounded by well-kept gardens that contrasted with the approaching darkness of the night. Charles Miller was an elderly man, but his eyes still shone with the cunning of someone who knew the city's secrets. "Mr. Miller, I'm investigating Jonathan Harper's death. Is there anything you can tell me about the circumstances surrounding his murder?" Sam asked, trying to be direct. Miller sighed, looking at an old photo of Jonathan on his shelf. "Jonathan was more than he appeared to be, Collins. He had enemies, many of them. What happened to him wasn't a mere accident. But I don't know if you're prepared to deal with the consequences of digging so deep." Sam knew he was getting closer to the truth, but also felt the weight of Miller's warnings. He bid the man farewell, leaving the mansion with more questions than answers. On the way back to the office, his mind was occupied with the fragments of information he had gathered. Upon arrival, he found a sealed envelope under the door. No sender, just his name written in elegant handwriting. Inside was an anonymous letter. "Sam Collins, you are playing with fire. Stop your investigation now, or you will suffer the consequences. Some truths are better left in the past." Sam smiled slightly, folding the letter and putting it in his coat pocket. He knew he was on the right track, and it wouldn't be a veiled threat that would make him give up. With the box of documents and the anonymous letter as his guide, Sam was ready to delve deeper into Jonathan Harper's dark past, determined to uncover the truth behind his death and the web of lies the city insisted on keeping hidden. Chapter 3: Whispers of the Night. The night was even denser, like an ebony blanket covering the city. The deserted streets echoed with the solitary footsteps of Sam Collins as he headed toward downtown. The streetlights cast long, threatening shadows that danced to the rhythm of the persistent rain. Sam knew the truth was close, but he also felt that with each step he took, the dangers increased. Sam's first destination was a small bar in the city center, a place where secrets flowed as freely as the cheap whiskey. It was the kind of place where faces disappeared into the shadows and conversations were whispers. Sam entered, removing his soaked hat and shaking the excess water from his coat. His eyes quickly adjusted to the dim light, searching for someone who could help. "Collins!" a raspy voice called from a dark corner. It was Benny, a longtime informant and one of the few men Sam could trust. Benny was a thin man, with fox-like eyes and a sly smile, always ready to sell information for a price. "Benny, I need information. I'm investigating Jonathan Harper's death. What do you know about it?" Sam asked, sitting next to Benny and lighting a cigarette. Benny chuckled softly, revealing teeth yellowed by time and tobacco. "Ah, Harper. Many ghosts in that case. But I know one thing: he was involved with dangerous people, far beyond legal business. I heard there's a diary, a second diary, that has all the answers. It's in the hands of someone very powerful." Benny took a sip of his drink and looked around nervously. Sam knew he needed more than whispered words in a bar to move forward. But every clue, every fragment of information, was a step closer to the truth. "Who has this diary, Benny? I need a name," Sam insisted, the intensity in his eyes burning through the smoke of his cigarette. Benny hesitated, visibly uncomfortable. Finally, he leaned closer to Sam, whispering almost inaudibly, "They say Henry Blake has this diary. But be careful, Collins. Blake is not a man to be underestimated. He controls more in this city than you can imagine." Sam nodded, thanking Benny and leaving a generous bill on the table. He left the bar with Henry Blake's name burning in his mind. Blake, the man in the photograph, Jonathan Harper's friend, and now, it seemed, the keeper of his darkest secrets. The next day, Sam decided to visit an old acquaintance, Jack Thompson, an investigative journalist who had crossed paths with Jonathan Harper in the past. Jack was known for his nose for sensational stories and his disregard for social conventions. He might have some valuable information. Jack's office was organized chaos, with piles of newspapers, scribbled notes, and photos scattered everywhere. Jack, a middle-aged man with disheveled hair and a cigarette perpetually hanging from his lips, looked at Sam with a mix of curiosity and exasperation. "Collins, what the hell brings you here?" Jack asked, blowing a cloud of smoke. "I need information about Henry Blake and his connection to Jonathan Harper. I'm investigating Harper's death, and it seems Blake is at the center of it all," Sam replied, scanning the photos on the walls, looking for anything that might help. Jack laughed, a dry, sarcastic sound. "Blake is a shark, Sam. Nobody messes with him without paying a high price. But I know a few things. Blake and Harper had a partnership that went beyond business. Illegal stuff, money laundering, influence trafficking. If Harper is dead, there's a good chance Blake had something to do with it." Jack paused, looking intently at Sam. "But I can't give you more than that without compromising my own sources." Sam knew Jack was being cautious, but he also knew there was more to it. He thanked the journalist and left, his suspicions increasingly confirmed. Blake was a key piece in this puzzle, and Sam was determined to find him. That night, back in his office, Sam sat at his desk, documents spread out in front of him, his eyes fixed on Jonathan Harper's diary. He knew the investigation was just beginning, but each clue, each piece of information brought him closer to the truth. And he would not rest until all the secrets were revealed, no matter the cost. The city outside continued its dance of shadows and secrets, and Sam knew that with each step he took, he was getting closer to the dark heart of the truth. He extinguished his cigarette, closed his eyes for a moment, and prepared for the next phase of his investigation, determined to face any obstacle that came his way. Chapter 4. The Untouchables Club. Sam Collins walked through the dark streets of the city, his wool coat shielding him from the cold and the never-ending rain. The name Henry Blake echoed in his mind, each syllable laden with mystery and danger. He knew that the next step in his investigation would take him to the heart of where the darkest secrets were kept. The Marlin Club. The Marlin Club was a majestic and opulent building, with marble columns and an imposing facade that intimidated anyone who passed through its doors. Only the richest and most influential could become members, and what happened inside was a well-kept secret. Sam, however, had his methods for getting into places where he wasn't welcome. That night, he was determined to infiltrate the club and discover what Henry Blake was hiding. Sam stopped in front of the club's side entrance, where the staff went in and out. He lit a cigarette, watching the comings and goings as he waited for the right moment. When a group of waiters stepped out for a break, Sam slipped inside, blending into the shadows and moving with the skill of a man accustomed to going unnoticed. Inside the club, the atmosphere was luxurious and thick with expensive cigars and aged whiskey. Men in well-tailored suits spoke in low voices, their laughter muffled by thick walls and luxurious carpets. Sam knew he needed to find Henry Blake and, more importantly, Jonathan Harper's second diary. Walking through the main hall, Sam spotted Blake in the distance. He was surrounded by a group of men, laughing and chatting animatedly. Henry Blake was an imposing figure, with well-groomed gray hair and cold eyes that missed nothing. Sam knew that approaching Blake directly would be suicide. He needed a subtler approach. Sam headed to the bar, ordered a whiskey, and observed the scene. It was then that he noticed a woman sitting alone at a nearby table. She was young, with a red dress that contrasted with the surrounding darkness. Her intense blue eyes fixed on Sam for a moment, and he realized she was also watching Blake. "Good evening," Sam said, approaching the woman. "You seem as out of place here as I do." She smiled, a smile full of secrets. "I'm Anna. And you, what brings you here?" she asked, her voice smooth as silk. "Sam Collins. I'm investigating some things." "You seem to know Blake," Sam replied, trying to sound casual. Anna laughed softly, taking a sip of her martini. "Blake is a dangerous man, Mr. Collins, and if you're here to investigate, I suggest you be very careful. He has eyes and ears everywhere." She paused, looking directly into Sam's eyes. "But if you're determined, I can help you. I know a place where he keeps things he doesn't want anyone to see." Sam felt Anna was sincere, but he also knew trusting her could be risky. However, he didn't have many options. "All right, Anna, where is this place?" he asked, curiosity overcoming caution. Anna described a room at the back of the club, where Blake kept his most important documents. It was guarded by security, but she knew how to disable the alarm system. "Follow me," Anna said, rising gracefully. They moved through the club, slipping through shadows and avoiding attention. Anna led Sam to a narrow hallway, stopping in front of a heavy wooden door. "Here, I have access to the security codes." She typed a sequence of numbers, and the door opened with an almost inaudible click. Inside the room was a mahogany desk covered with papers and folders. Sam immediately began searching for the diary, while Anna kept an eye on the door. Finally, he found what he was looking for. A leather-bound diary, similar to the first, but with an even more sinister air. The pages were filled with incriminating details, names of powerful people, illegal transactions, and secrets that could bring down the city's entire elite. "We need to get out of here before someone notices," Anna said, her eyes nervous. Sam agreed, closing the diary and tucking it under his coat. They exited the room with the same caution they had entered, but as they crossed the main hall, Sam saw something that made him stop. Henry Blake was looking directly at him, his eyes cold as ice. A slow smile formed on Blake's lips, and Sam knew in that moment that his presence at the club had not gone unnoticed. "Mr. Collins, what a surprise to see you here. Can I help you with something?" Blake asked, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Sam remained calm, smiling back. "Just enjoying the club's hospitality, Mr. Blake," he replied, trying to sound casual. Blake laughed, but his eyes were not smiling. "Have a good night, Collins. I'm sure we'll meet again very soon," he said before turning back to his group. Sam and Anna left the club quickly, knowing time was against them. They needed to decipher the contents of the diary before Blake could react. Back at Sam's office, he and Anna began examining the diary's pages, uncovering a web of corruption and crime that spanned the entire city. Sam knew he was getting closer to the truth, but he also knew that each step put him in more danger. Anna looked at Sam, her face serious. "You know this is just the beginning, right? Blake won't stop until you're out of the way." Sam nodded, determined. "I know, Anna, but I'm committed to uncovering the truth, no matter the cost." The night was still young, and the city, with all its dark secrets, patiently waited to reveal more truths. Sam knew he was in a race against time and couldn't afford to make a wrong move. The mystery was far from solved, but Sam was more determined than ever to uncover every layer of secrets and lies, even if it meant risking everything. Chapter 5. Secrets Between the Lines. The sun began to rise over the city, but Sam Collins didn't feel the warmth of the first rays. He was sitting in his office, his eyes fixed on the pages of Jonathan Harper's diary. Each entry seemed more disturbing than the last, revealing a web of corruption and crime involving some of the city's most powerful men. Anna was beside him, the tension evident on her face. She had been an unexpected but essential ally, and Sam knew he couldn't have gotten this far without her help. As he read, Jonathan Harper's words seemed to leap off the pages, each sentence a clue, each paragraph a revelation. February 2nd, 1995. Meeting with Blake and the others was tense. The new business ventures are attracting too much attention. We need to be more careful or everything will collapse. Blake insists we have everything under control, but I can't help but worry. There's too much at stake. Sam frowned, feeling the weight of the words. Blake always seemed confident, but Harper had sensed the danger. He continued reading, his hands turning the pages with a mixture of urgency and caution. March 15, 1995. Received an anonymous letter today. Someone knows too much. Blake is furious, wants to eliminate the threat. I can't let that happen. I need to protect my family. Evelyn must never know the truth. Evelyn. Her name was intertwined with Jonathan Harper's fate, and now with Sam's own fate. He knew he needed to speak with her, to tell her everything he had discovered. But first, he needed more answers. Anna, do you know where we can find more information about these meetings? Someone who was there. Someone who can confirm what's in the diary. Sam asked, his eyes still fixed on the yellowed pages. Anna thought for a moment, her eyes lighting up with an idea. There is one person. Richard Kane. He was the trusted accountant of both Harper and Blake. If anyone knows something, it would be him. But I heard he's in hiding. Kane has as much to lose as any of the others. Sam nodded, rising from his chair. Let's find him. We need to know what he knows. We'll go to the outskirts, where people disappear when they want to be forgotten. Richard Kane's house was in a rundown neighborhood, far from the glitz and glamour of downtown. Sam and Anna arrived at dusk, the last rays of sun casting long shadows over the dirty streets. Kane's house was small and neglected, with closed windows and an air of abandonment. Sam knocked on the door, the sound echoing through the silence of the neighborhood. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the door opened slowly, revealing a thin, aged man with restless eyes that darted quickly between Sam and Anna. Who are you? What do you want? Kane asked, the distrust clear in his voice. My name is Sam Collins, and this is Anna. We're investigating Jonathan Harper's death. We need to talk to you about what you know, Sam replied, trying to keep his tone calm. Kane hesitated, his eyes fixed on Sam as if trying to assess the situation. Finally, he opened the door completely, allowing them to enter. Come in, but be quick. I don't trust anyone, Kane said, closing the door behind them. Inside, the house was dark and filled with scattered papers. Kane led them to a small living room, where they sat on worn-out chairs. Sam pulled out Jonathan Harper's diary and showed it to Kane. We found this. I need you to tell us what you know about the meetings mentioned here, especially those with Blake, Sam requested, his voice firm. Kane took the diary with trembling hands, leafing through the pages carefully. His eyes widened as he read the entries, and he sighed deeply. Jonathan was a good man, but he got involved with the wrong people. Blake, he's dangerous. Those meetings were about illegal businesses, money laundering, bribes. Jonathan started to worry, thought they were going too far. But Blake didn't want to stop. He always wanted more, Kane said, his voice low and tense. Anna leaned forward, curiosity on her face. Kane, you mentioned an anonymous letter. Do you know who sent it? She asked. Kane shook his head. I don't know who sent it, but Jonathan became paranoid after that. He thought someone in the group was betraying them. And he was right. There was a betrayal, but I don't know who it was. All I know is that after that, everything started to fall apart. Sam felt a pang of frustration. He was close, but still missing crucial pieces. Kane, we need proof. Something we can use against Blake and the others. Do you have anything? Sam asked, urgency in his voice. Kane hesitated again, but then he stood up and went to a bookshelf, pulling out an old book. Inside was a thick envelope full of documents. This is all I have. Proof of transactions, letters, everything I managed to save before I went into hiding. But be careful, Collins. Blake won't stop until everyone who knows too much is dead, Kane said, handing the envelope to Sam, his eyes filled with fear. Sam took the envelope, feeling the weight of responsibility. He and Anna left Kane's house, knowing they had the keys to unravel the entire mystery. Back at the office, Sam and Anna examined the documents, each one more incriminating than the last. Illegal transactions, bribes, names of powerful people involved in crimes. It was the proof they needed to bring down Blake and his circle. But they knew time was running out. Blake wouldn't stand idle while they uncovered his secrets. Sam was determined to continue, but he also knew the path ahead would be fraught with dangers. As the night wore on, Sam looked at Anna, determination in his eyes. "We're close, Anna. Very close. But we need to be careful. Blake will come after us with everything he's got." Anna nodded, her eyes equally determined. "We're in this together, Sam. We'll uncover the truth, no matter what." The city outside was wrapped in shadows, but inside Sam's office, the light of truth began to shine, growing ever stronger. And they were ready to face anything to reveal all the buried secrets. The next step would be to confront Henry Blake directly, using the evidence they had. Sam knew it would be dangerous, but there was no turning back. The truth was within reach, and he would do whatever it took to expose it to the world. Chapter 6. Deadly Trap. The night was darker than usual, thick clouds blocking any trace of moonlight. The city seemed to hold its breath, as if sensing the imminent confrontation. Sam Collins knew that the next step would be the most dangerous of all. He was about to confront Henry Blake, armed with the evidence Kane had provided. But first, he needed to ensure every detail was perfectly aligned. Anna and Sam spent the day reviewing every document, every transaction, every letter. They compiled a solid dossier, a bomb of information that could destroy Blake and his circle. But Sam knew Blake wouldn't go down without a fight. And that fight could be deadly. That night, Sam and Anna met in an abandoned warehouse in the city's industrial district. It was the location Sam had chosen for the meeting with Blake, a place where he hoped to have a tactical advantage. The warehouse was cold and damp, shadows dancing on the walls as Sam prepared everything for the confrontation. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Anna asked, her voice heavy with concern. "Blake is dangerous. He won't hesitate to kill you if he feels cornered." Sam looked at her, his eyes determined. "We don't have a choice, Anna. We need to end this once and for all." He paused, holding her hands for a moment. "I just need you to stay safe. If anything goes wrong, run. Don't look back." Anna nodded, but Sam could see she was determined to stay by his side, regardless of the danger. The clock struck midnight when Henry Blake arrived. He was accompanied by 2 burly men, bodyguards ready for anything. Blake entered the warehouse with an air of confidence, as if he already knew he would come out on top. "Collins, you really are a bold man. Calling me here to this place?" Blake said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "I hope you have something really interesting to show me." Sam remained calm, pulling the dossier from inside his coat. "I have evidence, Blake. Evidence of all your illegal transactions, bribes, and crimes. Everything documented. This will bring you and your empire down." Blake laughed, a cold, disdainful sound. "You think you can intimidate me with a few papers, Collins? I am untouchable. I have people everywhere, willing to do anything to protect me." Sam took a step forward, his eyes fixed on Blake. "Not this time. This time you're going down, and I will make sure every person involved pays for what they've done." Blake signaled to his bodyguards, who moved towards Sam. But before they could do anything, Anna appeared behind them, pointing a gun. "One move and you're dead," she said, her voice firm. The bodyguards stopped, but Blake looked more annoyed than frightened. "You really think this will end well for you, Collins?" Blake asked, his voice full of menace. "You have no idea what you're up against." Suddenly, a barrage of gunfire echoed through the warehouse. Sam dove to the ground, pulling Anna with him as bullets ricocheted off the walls. He realized Blake had set a trap, bringing more men than he had shown. "Anna, run!" Sam shouted as he got up, drawing his own gun. Anna ran for the exit, but Sam knew he had to hold them off as long as possible to ensure she was safe. He exchanged fire with Blake's men, using the warehouse shadows to his advantage. Blake, taking advantage of the chaos, tried to escape through the side door. Sam saw the movement and fired, hitting Blake in the shoulder. The man cried out in pain, falling to the ground. Sam rushed over, pushing Blake's gun out of reach. "It's over, Blake. You're finished," Sam said, breathing heavily. Blake looked up at him, eyes full of hatred. "This will never be over, Collins. You may have caught me, but others will come. There are always more." Sam knew Blake was right, but in that moment he had achieved what he needed. The police, called by Anna, arrived quickly, arresting Blake and his men. The warehouse was silent again, the immediate danger averted. Hours later, in Sam's office, he and Anna sat in silence, absorbing everything that had happened. The danger was still present, but they had made significant progress. Blake was in custody, and his operations were dismantled. "We did it, Sam. We finally did it," Anna said, smiling slightly. Sam nodded, but he knew the fight was far from over. The city was still full of dark secrets, and he was determined to continue his quest for the truth. "This is just the beginning, Anna. But now, we have a chance to change things," Sam replied, looking out the window where the first rays of sunlight began to illuminate the city. The day was dawning, bringing with it new hope. Sam knew there was still much to be done, but for the first time in a long time, he felt he was on the right path. The truth was in sight, and he was ready to face any challenge that came next. The city, with all its secrets and lies, waited, and Sam Collins was prepared to uncover each one, no matter the cost. Chapter 7: Game of Lies. The rising sun bathed the city in a pale light, but inside Sam Collins' office, the atmosphere was still dark. Sam and Anna had barely had time to rest since Henry Blake's arrest. They knew the enemy was wounded, but not defeated. Sam was examining the remaining documents, searching for any clue that could further clarify the web of corruption engulfing the city. The phone rang, breaking the tense silence. Sam answered, his voice hoarse with fatigue. "Collins, you and Anna are in danger. Blake may be in jail, but his allies are still out there, and they won't stop until they've finished you off." The voice on the other end was Jack Thompson, the investigative journalist. "Jack, I need your help. We know Blake didn't act alone. We need to identify everyone involved before they reach us," Sam replied, sensing the urgency in Jack's voice. "Meet me at my office in an hour. I have some information that might help. And Collins, be careful. They're getting more desperate," Jack said, hanging up quickly. Sam looked at Anna, who was already ready to leave. "We have a meeting with Jack. He might have more information about Blake's allies. Let's hurry." Jack Thompson's office was a chaotic jumble of papers and photographs, evidence of the journalist's relentless work. Jack greeted them with a serious expression, offering strong coffee to keep their minds sharp. Blake might be out of the game, but he was just the tip of the iceberg. The real power lies with those still in the shadows. "I need to show you something," Jack said, pulling out a city map covered in notes and marks. He pointed to several spots on the map, explaining the connections between different influential figures in the city. Politicians, businessmen, police officers, all seemed intertwined in a web of corruption that Blake helped maintain. Here are the names of Blake's main allies: Mark Donovan, the police chief; Linda Avery, a renowned lawyer; and Robert Lang, an influential businessman. They are the pillars of this scheme, Jack explained, handing over a detailed dossier. Sam studied the names and connections, feeling the weight of responsibility grow. "We need to act quickly. If we can expose them, we can bring down this network once and for all. But we need to be careful," Sam said, looking at Anna and Jack. "I have some sources who can help us. People willing to talk, but they need protection," Jack added, lighting a cigarette and exhaling slowly. Their first stop was the home of one of these sources, an accountant who worked for Robert Lang. He was visibly nervous, glancing around as if expecting to be followed. "You have to protect me. If they find out I talked, I'm dead," he said, his hands trembling as he held a folder full of documents. "We'll protect you, but we need information. Tell us everything you know," Sam replied, trying to calm the man down. The accountant revealed details about financial transactions, bribes, and illegal deals involving Lang and his associates. Each document, each statement was a piece of the puzzle Sam and Anna were assembling. Armed with this new information, they headed to Linda Avery's office. Sam knew this approach would be risky but necessary. Avery was known for her skill in manipulating the law to her advantage, protecting her clients at any cost. They entered the office building where Avery worked, passing the reception with a cold determination. Avery was in her office, an elegant middle-aged woman with a calculating gaze. "Mr. Collins, I've heard of you. What can I do for you today?" she asked, with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "We know what you and your allies are doing, Avery. We have enough evidence to take you all down. I suggest you start talking," Sam said, placing a copy of the documents on her desk. Avery looked at the documents, the color draining from her face. She knew she was cornered, but her expression soon turned into a mask of calm. "You have no idea what you've gotten yourselves into. There are forces at play here that you can't even imagine. But perhaps I can be persuaded to cooperate," she said, her voice low and controlled. Sam realized she was willing to negotiate. If he could get Avery to reveal more names and details, it could be the key to dismantling the entire operation. "Cooperating is your best option, Avery. Help us bring down this network, and maybe we can ensure a lighter sentence for you," Sam replied, his gaze fixed on her. Avery revealed crucial information about Mark Donovan and Robert Lang, detailing their operations and the weaknesses that could be exploited. With this new information, Sam and Anna knew they were closer to exposing the whole truth. Back at the office, Sam felt a strange mix of relief and tension. He knew that each step brought them closer to the truth, but also increased the danger. "Anna, we're making progress, but there's still much to be done. We need to ensure all this information reaches the right authorities. And we need to do it quickly," Sam said, looking at the documents scattered across the desk. Anna agreed, the determination in her eyes mirroring Sam's. "We're going to finish this, Sam. Together, we can bring down this network once and for all." The game of lies was coming to an end, but Sam knew the final confrontation would be the most dangerous of all. He was prepared to face anything, determined to reveal the truth and bring justice to those who had been wronged. The city outside continued its routine, oblivious to the drama unfolding in the shadows. But Sam Collins was determined to bring light to these dark corners, no matter the cost. Chapter 8: The Buried Truth. The rain poured heavily, as if the sky were determined to wash away the city's sins. Sam Collins watched the drops run down his office window, his thoughts in turmoil. The dossier he and Anna had compiled was complete, filled with evidence that could bring down Mark Donovan, Linda Avery, and Robert Lang. But he knew he couldn't just hand this information over to the authorities. He needed a plan that ensured the arrest of the guilty and protected everyone involved. Sam picked up the phone and called Captain Reynolds, one of the few honest cops he knew. "Reynolds, we need to talk. I have evidence that can take down the biggest players in this city," Sam said, his voice firm. "Collins, that sounds dangerous. Where are you?" Reynolds replied, concern evident in his voice. "At my office. Come quickly and bring backup. We're going to need all the help we can get," Sam said, hanging up, hoping Reynolds understood the urgency of the situation. Shortly after, Reynolds arrived at the office, accompanied by 2 trusted detectives. He looked at the dossier Sam handed him, his eyes widening as he read the evidence. "My God, Collins, this is explosive. If this gets out, there will be war in the streets," Reynolds said, his voice full of gravity. "I know, Reynolds, but we need to do this in a way that catches them all at once. We can't let any of them escape," Sam replied, his tone resolute. Reynolds agreed, devising a plan with Sam and the other detectives. They decided the best way to proceed was to lure all the involved parties to a meeting, a place where they could be apprehended without resistance. The chosen location was an old industrial warehouse, far from the city center. Sam and Anna made the necessary contacts, using Linda Avery's influence to lure Mark Donovan and Robert Lang to the site. The pretext was a meeting to discuss the next steps after Henry Blake's arrest. On the appointed day, Sam and Anna arrived early, preparing the ground. Reynolds and his men were positioned, ready to act at the first sign of trouble. Sam knew it was a huge risk, but there was no other option. As they waited, Anna approached Sam, the tension evident on her face. "Are you sure we're ready for this?" she asked, her voice almost a whisper. Sam looked into her eyes, seeing determination mixed with fear. "We're doing the right thing, Anna. We need to end this network of corruption. Today, once and for all," he replied, squeezing her hand lightly. Mark Donovan was the first to arrive, followed closely by Robert Lang. Both were accompanied by bodyguards, but they didn't notice the hidden police presence. Linda Avery arrived soon after, greeting the men with a tense smile. "We're all here. What's so urgent, Avery?" Donovan asked, impatience in his voice. Before Linda could respond, Sam and Anna stepped out of the shadows, their guns drawn. "It's over, Donovan. Lang, Avery, you're all under arrest," Sam said, his voice firm and authoritative. The bodyguards prepared to react, but Reynolds' officers moved quickly, disarming and subduing them. Donovan and Lang glared at Sam with hatred, but they knew they were cornered. "You don't know who you're messing with, Collins. This won't end well for you," Lang growled as the police handcuffed him. "It's over, Lang. You've lost," Sam replied, feeling a huge weight lift from his shoulders. Back at the office, Sam and Anna sat in silence, absorbing what had happened. The network of corruption was dismantled, but Sam knew there was still much to be done. The city needed time to heal, and he was determined to ensure justice was served. The phone rang again, interrupting his thoughts. "Collins, it's Reynolds. We did it. They're all in custody, and the evidence is enough to secure convictions." "You did a great job," Reynolds said, his voice filled with relief. "Thanks, Reynolds. But this is just the beginning. We need to make sure the city stays clean," Sam replied, knowing the fight against corruption never truly ended. After hanging up, Sam looked at Anna, a tired but satisfied smile on his face. "We did it, Anna. We made a difference," he said, feeling a new determination grow within him. Anna smiled back, her eyes shining. "Yes, Sam, we did it. But as you said, this is just the beginning. The city still needs us." The night moved on, but the darkness seemed less oppressive. Sam knew the road ahead would still be difficult, but he was ready to face any challenge. He and Anna had dismantled a web of lies, but now they needed to ensure the truth prevailed. The city, with all its secrets and shadows, still waited, and Sam Collins was prepared to continue his fight, bringing light to every dark corner and justice to those who needed it most. Chapter 9, Final Showdown. The city was quieter than usual, as if it were anticipating the inevitable conclusion of a story that had been unfolding for decades. Sam Collins knew the final confrontation was near. Henry Blake and his accomplices had been arrested, but the true mastermind behind all the corruption was still at large. Sam felt there was something deeper, something he hadn't yet uncovered. That morning, Sam received an anonymous call. The voice on the other end was muffled and urgent. "Collins, if you want the whole truth, meet me at the old warehouse at the docks tonight. Come alone," the voice said before abruptly hanging up. Sam knew it could be a trap, but the promise of uncovering the entire truth was irresistible. He prepared carefully, checking his gun and placing a small recorder in his coat pocket. He informed Anna and Reynolds about the meeting, asking them to be on standby in case something went wrong. The old warehouse at the docks was a maze of dark corridors filled with crates and abandoned machinery. The smell of salt and rust hung in the air, making the environment even more oppressive. Sam entered cautiously, his eyes and ears alert for any sign of danger. In the center of the warehouse, a solitary figure waited. As Sam approached, he recognized the silhouette of Richard Kane, the accountant who had previously revealed so many truths. Kane looked agitated, his eyes darting around nervously. "Kane, what's going on? Why did you call me here?" Sam asked, keeping one hand near his gun. Kane stepped forward, his voice trembling with fear and tension. "I found something, Collins. Something I didn't see before. There's a man. Someone who controlled everything from behind the scenes. He's the real mastermind behind the corruption. I thought I could handle it on my own, but Kane was interrupted by the sound of footsteps echoing through the warehouse. Sam turned quickly, seeing a figure emerge from the shadows. It was Captain Reynolds, but something was wrong. Reynolds' eyes had a cold, calculating gleam, and a malevolent smile formed on his lips. "Captain, what are you doing here?" Sam asked, confusion and distrust growing inside him. Reynolds let out a low, humorless laugh. "Oh, Sam, always the naive detective. Did you really think this whole operation could run without someone at the top protecting the interests?" "I'm the man Kane was talking about," Reynolds said, his voice dripping with contempt. Kane tried to speak, but Reynolds drew a gun, pointing it directly at the accountant. "Quiet, Kane. You've already said too much," he growled before pulling the trigger. The sound of the gunshot echoed through the warehouse, and Kane fell to the ground, lifeless. Sam felt a wave of anger and despair but stayed calm, knowing any rash movement could be fatal. "Why, Reynolds? Why betray the city you swore to protect?" Sam asked, trying to buy time. Reynolds shrugged, smiling. "Power, Sam. It's all about power. While everyone thought I was cleaning up the streets, I was actually ensuring that the real power remained untouched. And now you're in my way." Sam knew he didn't have much time. With a quick move, he drew his gun and fired at Reynolds, who staggered back, wounded but not mortally hit. Reynolds fell to the ground, screaming in pain and rage. "You'll pay for this, Collins," he roared, trying to reach for his gun. Sam approached, kicking the gun away and kneeling beside Reynolds. "It's over, Reynolds. You're finished," Sam said, his voice full of determination. Before Reynolds could respond, sirens wailed in the distance, and Anna appeared, followed by a team of police officers. They quickly handcuffed Reynolds, while Anna looked at Sam with relief. "Are you all right?" she asked, touching his arm lightly. Sam nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "Yes, Anna. It's over now," he replied, looking at Kane's body with sadness. "But Kane, he gave us the key to end all of this." At the police station, Sam and Anna handed over the remaining evidence, ensuring that the entire network of corruption was completely dismantled. Reynolds was arrested, his confessions and the overwhelming evidence ensuring he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. Sam finally felt that the city could begin to heal, but he knew there was still much work to be done. He and Anna left the station, the rain finally stopping and the sun beginning to break through the clouds. "We did it, Sam. We ended the corruption," Anna said, smiling at him. Sam smiled back, feeling a rare sense of peace. "Yes, we did. But the city still needs us, and we'll be here to ensure that the truth prevails. Always." The city, with all its scars and shadows, was ready for a new beginning, and Sam Collins was prepared to continue his fight, ensuring that justice and truth always prevailed, no matter the cost. Chapter 10, Redemption. Dawn brought a new light to the city. For the first time in a long while, Sam Collins felt that the shadows were retreating. The arrests of Henry Blake, Linda Avery, Robert Lang, and finally Captain Reynolds had marked the beginning of a new era. But despite the victories, Sam knew that the work was far from over. The sound of sirens still resonated in his ears as he made his way to the office. Anna was by his side, her face marked by fatigue but her eyes shining with determination. "Do you think we're finally free of this corruption network?" Anna asked, her soft voice breaking the silence. Sam sighed, looking out at the horizon. "Free, no, but we've taken a significant step forward. The most important thing now is to ensure the city stays this way," he replied, his mind already racing through the next steps. At the office, Sam and Anna were met with a flood of supportive messages. Grateful citizens, fellow detectives, and even some of the honest officers from the police department sent words of encouragement and thanks. Sam knew that community support would be crucial for maintaining the change. While reading one of the letters, an unexpected visitor entered the office. Evelyn Harper, the woman who had started this whole journey, was there, a soft smile on her face. "Sam, Anna, I couldn't leave without thanking you in person. My father can finally rest in peace, and it's all thanks to you," Evelyn said, her voice laden with emotion. Sam stood up, shaking her hand firmly. Evelyn, you were the reason we began this. Without your courage, none of this would have been possible, he replied, feeling a wave of gratitude. Evelyn handed Sam a small package wrapped in brown paper. I found this among my father's things. I think he'd want you to have it, she said with a faint smile. Sam unwrapped the package, revealing an old pocket watch with an inscription on the cover. To Jonathan, my friend and guardian of the truth. He looked at Evelyn, feeling the weight of the gift. Thank you, Evelyn. I'll honor this responsibility, he promised, carefully storing the watch. The days that followed were a blend of celebration and reflection. The city was in a state of transformation, and Sam was determined to ensure that the change was lasting. He and Anna began working with the community, organizing meetings and encouraging civic participation in vigilance against corruption. Sam's work also attracted media attention. Jack Thompson, the journalist who had been a crucial ally, wrote a series of articles detailing the downfall of the corruption network and praising Sam and Anna's efforts. You are heroes for this city. We need more people like you, willing to fight for the truth at any cost, Jack wrote in one of his articles. A month later, Sam and Anna were at the City Hall auditorium, where a special ceremony was being held. The mayor, an honest man who had fought against corruption from the beginning, took the stage. Today, we recognize the efforts of two extraordinary citizens whose dedication and courage saved our city from a dark fate. Sam Collins and Anna Thompson, please join me on stage, the mayor said, as the crowd stood and applauded. Sam and Anna stepped onto the stage, feeling the warmth of the community's gratitude. The mayor presented them with medals of honor, symbolizing the official recognition of their efforts. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, but this medal is for everyone who believed in justice and truth. It is a collective victory, Sam said, his voice firm and full of conviction. The ceremony was a moment of redemption not only for Sam and Anna but for the entire city. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, stronger and more united than ever. Later that night, Sam and Anna sat on the office's porch, watching the city lights. The gentle breeze brought a sense of renewal. What comes next, Sam? Anna asked, her voice soft in the quiet night. Sam smiled, looking at the stars. We continue to fight, Anna. Truth and justice never stop. But now we know we're not alone. The city is with us, and that makes all the difference. Anna nodded, sharing the same determination. Together, Sam. Always together. The city still had its secrets and shadows, but with Sam Collins and Anna Thompson vigilant, hope and justice would continue to shine, illuminating every dark corner and bringing a new dawn for everyone.